audio that we are live here. This is the L7C live here on the YouTube. The first ever My Hero Academia live episode. We are talking about not just the season finale of season 8, we're talking about the series finale of My Hero Academia. We have the My Hero enthusiast with us, Miss Andrea Alanis. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I am feeling emotional, Martin. I mean, I'm good, but definitely emotional. Like you said, this is our first live podcast for the My Hero pod, and uh, for me, that's a little nerve-wracking. But I mean, what an episode to have the first live one for. I mean, it's the very end. That's what it is, and I'm emotional about it. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
Honestly, haven't been too swell after what happened yesterday, because for people who just watched the previous podcast, and thank you for watching that, the previous one before that, the 13th was a big day for L7C content because My Hero Academia was ending in the morning and John Cena was retiring at the nighttime. So obviously, very very mixed emotions. Haven't talked to anyone outside of my house after John Cena retired until the 8:30 hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I was just wheeling all of the emotions in of both of them being over in the same day, and I just was
It's a
sad,
lot.
angry, didn't really want to talk to any radio silent, but since 10 like 40 since 10:40
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, so this is like my second conversation with people. So yeah, so it was the fact that they both ended, and obviously big parts of the childhood, and like I said at the previous live one that we just had, that this one right now is the second of 4 live episodes we're having to end the year. We just had John Cena's retirement one. We're having the My Hero Academia one now. In 2 weeks, the Anime League Season 3 is going to be a live one.
Yep.
And then the last Tuesday of the month is the end of year podcast. Yes, thank you. Yep, Byron, yesterday was a very emotional day for pop culture in general.
Yeah. True.
So, yeah, this is the second of 4 live podcasts, and the next one will be in the week of Christmas and then the week after. So we got a lot of content. But Andrew, where where do you want to? This is a live forum, so just
Yeah.
overall thoughts on the finale. Like, and we're gonna get into a whole bunch of different things. We're gonna go back and forth with places, but just your thoughts on the final episodes, and then we're gonna talk more about My Hero in general.
Okay, so final thoughts on both episodes. I mean, I guess I'll just go straight to like my feelings overall about the ending of the story, point blank period. I thought it was beautiful. I think I either texted you or someone else that I think the ending was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I have no qualms. I have no notes. I'm honestly still confused now about the backlash that the ending was getting about a year ago when
1 year ago, yep.
yep, that the manga ended and people were really upset. I I'm just not seeing it. I don't know if maybe we just kind of got more information all at the end than the manga readers did. Maybe, I don't know. I just it was beautiful. It hit the last 2 episodes hit on some notes that I did not expect it to,
Mm-hmm.
and it did so beautifully. And I I just rewatched both episodes before this recording, and the first moment that got me crying, the big tears, and I'm sure it doesn't shock you, Martin, since you know, but for anyone listening, might not be aware, my grandmother passed earlier this year, and so when we were getting to follow in the final episode, essentially who could have been Shigaraki 2.0, and we come to find out it's the same lady who stopped and met with Shigaraki
That
wanting
was
to.
that was crazy.
That
That
was
was
wild.
absurd.
And in again rewatching the second to last episodes, she's also when they're doing like a news story about like who Shigaraki is, They go, the different people that are talking, their occupations and such, and one of them says housewife, 70 years old. That's the same lady. We find out in the next episode she's the one that talks to, Shigaraki 2.0 and has the flashback, and she even says to herself, like, I think about that. I wonder if that kid ever got to a hero. And of course, we as the audience know, like, no, ma'am, he didn't. So that same lady felt empowered to intervene after watching Deku and the gang, fight against this great evil, and really put forward that it's not just the hero's job to step up and essentially save each other, help each other. But yeah, her line that, and again, stealing a little bit from All Might and Deku, the whole, like, I am here, that she says, it's going to be all right because Granny's here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was not something I was expecting, but it got a lot out of me, and it, of course, kind of set the tone for the rest of the final episode. I think I cried at least 4 or 5 times throughout that episode. I actually did think midway when they had that the end character, I really did think it was over. I was crying so hard.
Yeah.
Get to see the time skip and where everybody's at, now, which is 8 years later. Oh, but it was great. What did you think? How did you?
So I'll definitely hit more on that end stuff because I had to look through. I had to go through a year worth of bookmarks to find out why everyone was mad. It's really hard, like, to get a second chance at a mistake you made.
Right.
So, like, the fact that, and it was by chance. It wasn't like, oh, I effed up, I need to go apologize. Random occurrence. But then you also see, like, we talked about how the war affected everyone. Like, unfortunately, if Buddy's house didn't get destroyed during the war,
right,
he would still be locked in the cage. Not saying, like, there's just an unfortunate effect of that. So he had a quirk. Darkness is what it's called. Like, you just don't. And his family, which we've seen, like, hey, this is a black sheep of the family. He's going to disgrace our family name.
Lock him up.
Lock him up. Or we should off him. Obviously, they didn't off him. So they locked him up. So if his whole parentals didn't die,
leave, yeah,
he would still be locked up. So then he's walking out, the same thing like you already said, and the same fact, the lady. I think I was happy about it, but I was also kind of, I would think it would be, because My Hero, we've talked about on the years that we've done this podcast, how it kind of reflects, like, current life. And unfortunately, I think her helping would have been more realistic in the past than in the future, because in current life now, everyone's just like, oh, someone else is going to get it. Or if something's happening, oh, let me not help. Let me get my phone out and start recording. I thought someone was just going to start recording the dude, doing all that. It's like, oh, someone's going to help him, because that's where we're at right now, which is terrible, but
right,
it is what it is. But the fact that she, like, rethought all of that stuff and did that, and then obviously the two heroes who were actually on the scene were Midoriya and Uraraka, and they see that, so that's really cool. Then flash forward to, you see him, it's a quick brief second, but you see him at UA, so that one lady changed his life. I don't know, got him to whatever program, whatever, all that jazz. Right. Before that stuff too, where they're talking about how things have changed. Obviously, Lady Nagan saying Midoriya showed the world something, all that. There was a little bit more in the manga, because now that it's done, you can actually go back and look at some of the stuff. Like, she did say a line. She did say a line about, like, how, same thing like All For One said, like, Midoriya is significantly different than All Might. Like, he's not the invincible person and all of that, and how's the world going to respond to that? But then you also see the scene with Midoriya and Spinner. Yes. And obviously, like, Spinner calling him a murderer. Which I always laugh when the villains call the heroes a murderer. Like, come on. But to him, he murdered his hero.
He did.
So that's what Midoriya said, I can't, blah, blah, blah. He gave him the message, and Spinner was, and he said, like, Shigaraki was his hero. He talked about the stuff he liked to do. he liked to play video games. He liked to do this. He promised this world, and like Midoriya gave the message, and then he said he's gonna write a book about the League of Villains, so that we're not forgotten. So he's not forgotten. Things like that. And then Midoriya said, "Hey, make it a comic book and all that."
Yeah.
And he was just like that. But then he was just like, maybe I do need some pictures and all of that jazz. Then you also see stuff like with Midoriya and Uraraka, like, Uraraka thinking like she's thinking about Toga, like she's the reason Toga's dead, and
Right.
this and that. She's crying about that, and they're back on the hill where they started right at the end of 6, before 7, or right around 7 before they're about to do the final fight.
Yeah.
Where they're
Yes.
talking about like they want to save them, and obviously both are dead. So she's crying about that, and then of course everyone thinks like, oh, they're about to kiss. It's finally about to happen. The whole
Yeah.
Class 1A is magically eavesdropping because they're all like, oh, we're gonna find him. Froppy's all sad because she's basically like, hey, I'm your best friend. You could tell me these things.
Right.
All these things. And then, of course, the eavesdroppers heard Bakugo say the word Ember. Then they're like, what do you mean, Ember? So this is the first time now the class is learning that Midoriya is not long for this
quirk life.
this quirk life, and he's not going to be able to be a hero at their sense at this point in time. So
Right.
they get super, super sad about that. So, like, just stuff like that. And it was just, like, before even getting to the last episode, like, that stuff was sad,
That was
too.
heavy.
Yeah,
That
it
was really heavy.
And then, with the reconstruction stuff still going, and, like, gosh, there was, like, the things that they were saying about, because the tragic backstory and all that stuff came on.
Yep.
And then people were like, I don't care. He's the reason my friend is dead. And I was
Right.
like, that is
And my whole life's
100%.
ruined. They
I
ruined. My
said
house
valid.
was destroyed.
Yep.
The one commenter, I know it was a guy. I don't remember like his occupation or how old he was, but he looked to be like a little bit younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's saying like we can't be talking about him with like in a sympathetic tone or like softly, because if we do that, that's just gonna inspire number 2, number 3, like.
And that's real life. I mean, because there's a reason where there's always a push when unfortunate things happen, tragedies here, like active shooters. We're like,
Yep.
don't say this person's name. Do not give
Right.
them the credit.
Platform.
And when he said that line, that was the first thing
Me too.
I thought of, and I was just like, he's right. Like, you should, like, because with that boy, and I know we were future stuff if we continue
Right.
the series and all that, because that boy's not the only one who situations like that, and
Right.
especially across the thing, like another Shigaraki situation's happening all over the world, and obviously this group is trying to prevent those things with all the heroes and all that stuff, but it's unfortunate.
Someone's going to come along eventually, and sometimes it doesn't even need to be a quote-unquote tragic backstory like creating the villain. And I know part of the story in this is that villains are created, although I personally believe there are times when villains are kind of born, like they don't want to be redeemed, kind of like Shigaraki, but it wasn't a like truly tragic backstory. It's a little bit more of an entitlement of it's only about themselves and never about other people. And I know early on I had some of those feelings about Shigaraki, but then obviously we get to peek into the League of Villains. We learn more about his relationship with Spinner in particular. That's his best friend at this point. That's all it is. And for Spinner, Shigaraki was his first friend, and by extension, I would dare to say his best friend. And now he's lost him. And so, yeah, if they wanted to continue the universe, there's going to be another bad guy. There's also just going to be another bad guy that pops up that wants to just rule the world for no good reason. Like, it'll happen. However, it was really great to see the theme reinforced of doing more for the world in a preemptive manner and people in a preemptive manner to help to mitigate and avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah, and obviously, with me and Andrea, obviously talking about stuff if the series continue on. If you've listened to our podcast, you know we go into the whole hypotheticals and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if the show continue on in our canon brains and stuff like that. Byron, I know you're listening live, so you will like this reference. So in one of the video games a long time ago, like the Spider-Man video game for like PlayStation 4, Kingpin gets arrested.
Okay.
Everyone, the people are like, "Oh, Kingpin's arrested, yay!" But he tells them like, "You're gonna realize when I'm not here controlling all the crime, it's gonna get wacky."
It's gonna get worse. Ooh, okay.
So Flash connecting to My Hero, and we talked about it literally a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
All for One's been the kingpin of all this stuff for like over a century, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Who was waiting in the wings to take that gap?
Right. And at this point, obviously, there's no answers to that question. My only
is Reed Destro dead? Is he dead?
I thought he was. Isn't he?
I don't know if anyone killed him.
No. I think he's probably in prison. We haven't seen him. For villains that we saw Spinner. It was a blink and you miss it for me thing because I didn't recognize him. After Spinner wrote the book, we see somebody incarcerated, and it was Mr. Compress. It took me a second. And so, who else that we see? I don't think anybody else. Nope. Chisaki, we see him. But I think that's it. So, I'm not sure. My only thought is with the final episode when I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but they kind of talk about what each of the Class 1A students is doing in that 8 years and like kind of any specialties that they're doing. And so they specifically mentioned that Shinsho is doing a lot of like undercover organized crime work. And so I wonder if that's kind of more of the hint of like organized crime. The gangs are feeling a little more emboldened in the sense that, villains are starting to take a back seat, because that was a whole talking point during, I'm pretty sure it was season 4, where Chisaki is like trying to like push forward and be like, in response to villains making the Yakuza take the back seat, he's trying to bring them back to the forefront. So it could be maybe organized crime is, now garnering strength and trying to fill that gap or take that lead. I don't know. That's the only thing that my mind kind of goes to from the information we actually have.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, not every liberation soldier is going to like the New World. That's always a thing, since there was 100,000 plus of them.
True.
So that's one of those things. I would also say that that's if whatever happens in the future with My Hero. But it does live that question. I mean, we asked it last time, is the world really, at that point, before the time skip, is it really in a better place? Because Midoriya basically has no powers. All Might's done. Endeavor, Hawks are done. So it's like, we literally asked the last time, if a bad guy popped in right now, who's going to stop him? Like, if you had like an overhaul, like crazy ass quirk, or like, even think about some of the movies, like a Nine or Fleets or Dark All Might type level.
Right.
Like, if these people showed up right now, who would stop them?
I still don't think we really have an answer to that question, other than the fact that after what happened, I think there would be more likely a positive response to an aid call from the international community. I think because the U.S. president finally was like, no, I don't care. Everybody get to Japan now, basically when the fight was over. I think if anything of that magnitude kind of came forward, I do think international help would step in, because it shouldn't be anything to the scale of Shigaraki and All for One. But again, I don't know. We don't technically know. The assumption is any threat that's come through has been handled with any combination of the heroes that they currently have. Yeah. And the new blood, obviously, that graduated within the 2 years. I am still like looking back on all of this. I know we saw the big three in the war and then the final battle, but what about the rest of Class 3A? Like, where are these students? What about 2A? What about their seniors? Like, we just don't see them at all. But I know we follow our main cast, and that's just how it goes. But I'm like, we didn't even get the top 3 students from class 2A involved. Like that's weird. Or the top 3 students from class 3B, because we know there's normally an A and a B class. And again, when you put the 2 classes against each other, some of those matchups, the B classes can beat some of the students in the A class. So it's not necessarily like it's always class A students are across the board better. So I understand we already have a lot of characters we're connected to. We know well, they're fleshed out and we love them. But again, it begs the question of like, there's definitely more heroes coming out of Togoda's graduating class than those 3. We have we skip a year with the students right underneath them that are a year older than class 1A. But anyway, I digress. Like, there should be more capable heroes that we didn't really get to see, or like recently graduated or licensed heroes that we didn't get to see in the series.
Shoot, I was even thinking about some people who were like super strong, well, deemed strong back at the previous school, like
That too.
the Cammy school, obviously. Cammy, the Win guy who had the beef with Endeavor's family and all that, like stuff like that. Like, it's weird thinking, like, all right, who could do some things now? We'll get to some of that later. So, let's go through I will give you actually some of the stuff. Let's talk about the ending, what pissed people off back in the day, because I had to really look through.
Right.
One, I don't know if you might have probably seen the meme a lot more than me because of your algorithm on Instagram and all this stuff, but did you ever see the McDonald's meme?
Yes, I did. I did see that, yes.
So that started last year because basically, because again, anime is one of those things where the people who make content, obviously, I mean, we make content at a lot of content on here, but it's not. But the people who are like the first on the stuff, they want to be first on the stuff because they're getting revenue, and if you're first, you're getting the most clicks and all that. There was some like translational stuff and all that, and they were basically saying like, wait, this is ending with Midoriya basically being a bum, and then sitting like, and then as people say the slang, sitting in the C chair at the hotel. Yes, being.
Oh my god.
Yes, being.
Okay.
Yeah,
Rude.
so that's
okay. That's straight rude.
Yeah, so that's what
I understand the whole bum thing is obviously a huge overestimation because like I get it visually, the meme of okay, he doesn't have a quirk anymore. He graduates UA. What can he do? He can go work at McDonald's. Like I get it. Haha, funny. Because he doesn't have a quirk. But obviously the story has it set up that he's doing something extremely meaningful, something he had already, and again, he admitted to considering this when, what's her name? Cuomo?
The pink hair girl who showed up?
Yes, with the puffy earrings, talking about how, like, Aizawa impacted them. And he thought, he was already thinking about, yeah, like, I'm losing this quirk. I'm not going to have it forever. And we literally see him use it to help in clearing out the rubble. I missed that my first watch through in the second to last episode when I thought Todoroki was moving the ice. I was like, since when did he become a waterbender? What the fuck? So again, upon my rewatch, I was like, wait, I know that color little spark. Is that Midoriya? So we see him using the quirk to help with the reconstruction instead of like trying to, continue to make it last forever and ever and ever. But like, come on, guys! Like, no, that was too. The C chair, really?
Yeah, so that one really stemmed too from, I guess again, look at the manga perspective of him never, and even though it's implied, but it's never happened, confirmed wise, him never ending up with Uraraka. So that's what I'm just telling you what they did. Like that's what it was, and then also with them. That also implied that, like, he's sitting in that chair while all of his friends are doing amazing
hero work.
Amazing hero work, and obviously he misses it. Obviously, you see him crying when he gets the stuff at the end because he does miss it. So they're just like, oh, he's just sitting there, and then when he also talked about, again, this is from a year ago, when he's like, we like since everyone's busy and all that stuff, we really don't get together. And like so,
Yes.
then they were just like, oh, he's
Nobody
safe.
ever saw him.
Yeah, no one
Okay.
ever saw. Like that's where
I
it was
call
all coming.
bullshit on that. Unless there was a mistranslation from the manga to the anime, um, he literally says that it's really hard to get everybody to meet together. But that does not mean he hasn't met or seen Bakugo or seen Uraraka or run into Sue. Like he specifically made that comment about everybody getting together in the last 8 years. Like as a graduating class, Martin, when was the last time literally everybody from your graduating class got together in the last 10 years? Like even
Um,
even my high school reunion basically didn't happen. And the high school reunion that I accidentally crashed, not everybody from that graduate, not all 450 people were there. So
I
like
I was gonna say their class. I mean, it is like 20 something people, so it's not
true.
like two. I mean, compared to like that was like 500 people. So,
Nice.
but I would say that in terms of that, because they said 21. Because I was looking at a tweet I actually had saved, and it's a real life thing. It's really hard to
Mhm.
get 21 people's schedules aligned. I mean,
Mhm.
I would also say it's at that point in their lives too, because what we've seen, obviously, no one's really like in a relationship or getting married or having kids or any of that jazz. But it's general, it's hard because especially since now they are basically the ages we are now.
Right.
Um, just think about when's the last time you saw your best friend in person? When's the last time you went to go travel
Mhm.
there? Or when's the last time you like spoke to them like in a meaningful conversation or like
Right.
talked to anyone? Ooh, we have a Andrew. I'll ask this one to you. Is Midoriya as strong as he is now with One for All, with the now spoilers, the new
Hmm.
Iron Midoriya suit?
The Iron Midoriya suit. That is a hard question. Ooh, okay. Um,
I think
well,
I think it can't be determined because we don't know
I
what all it can do.
I would say it would be pure conjecture on my part. Um, my assumption, because again, this is assuming we know he has the Iron Midoriya suit, which is sick. Um, my guess, with All Might making those comments about the data gathered from when he used the suit, my guess is the quirks from his classmates are all embedded in the suit, just like All Might had. In addition to, I mean, they have the rope in there, so that's incorporating Black Whip. We saw him
Fly,
kind of floating, so
with
he
float
floats in there.
flying. Yep.
So I don't know how they'll put gear shift in there, but my guess is it's all his classmates' quirks in some capacity, along with the quirks that he utilized. And I mean, even with I did see a video about this, and so the accuracy of their estimation, but in this video, they mentioned that in the fight against Shiraki, Midoriya was only using 45% of his mastery. And so of course he was using gear shift and Fajin to help, boost it up to they said like 120%. But again, with Midoriya's like analytical and strategic mind, the way he, I mean, and we quickly saw him analyze Dai's quirk and be like, oh, you could potentially like use it like Mineta uses this and da 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 da. So, I mean, it can't be determined officially. I would like to believe he would be able to get close because of the way that I know he would utilize the tools that he has available to him to the max, just like he would have with One for All. But that's so hard to say it'd be equal. I don't think so. I'm trying to be optimistic, but I really don't think so.
I can say one thing definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously stronger than the All Might suit. It's like newer,
Yes, for sure.
all of that stuff. So it's definitely stronger than that. Also, the person who asked that question in the comments, I don't see Bakugo, which that is true. Bakugo funding a suit for Deku. That doesn't make Deku stronger than him. He wants
Mm-hmm.
to rival him and
Right.
surpass him. Funny to that thing. One of the memes that I did see was from Avengers 1
Uh
when
huh.
Captain America was telling Tony to put on the suit, let's go a few rounds. People are
Yes.
like,
Oh my
Bakugo
god.
had to have said, put on the suit, let's go
Let's go.
a couple rounds.
Yes.
I think
Oh
it's,
my
I mean, I
god.
don't know if you can make a suit stronger than the strongest, like, built
quirk
up
ever.
quirk in the
Yeah.
world. Like, but I think you could do stuff that compensates for it, and obviously too, like it's not like Midoriya, like he looks fine, like he doesn't look like he's like gay, like he's out of shape or anything like that. So like
No.
physically and all that jazz, and obviously like his analytical mind, I think it's just something that will maybe never know unless we get to see it in some stuff we'll talk about in the end.
Hmm.
But no, Bakugo's not going to fund that, and then it's weak. I would also
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not weak. I would say that point like agreed. It's not going to be a weak suit. It's not going to make him somehow like far inferior to the rest of his classmates. Um, Especially considering the amount of time it took them because again, the way it's presented is he had no idea the suit was happening.
oh, he'd
It's
have
been
zero,
eight
zero.
years.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 8 years. So there's been significant modifications made on the suit, the time that I took to make the suit, maybe
Just yep,
even
yep.
test it out to see to make sure that it's able to be rebuilt faster. Because again, heaven forbid we have a world-ending villain show up and they break Deku's suit. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, as we saw with All Might, he's going to have the support of the others around him show up, back him up, and they'll still win because we know that's how it goes. That's part of the whole theme is that you don't rely on a singular pillar to hold everything up. Everybody needs
Yep.
to support each other, give the hand up, hold hands to move forward. Um, but again, in the instance that something happens and the suit's completely destroyed, I don't think it'd be like they. I think because when he makes a comment about his, did he say young friend in the U.S.? It's obviously Melissa. I don't know why he didn't just say her name,
Yeah,
but
so
I think
that's
Melissa.
I'll get like once we I'm gonna read you all the differences between the anime and the manga.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, I'm excited for that then. So
But yes, it is
my assumption.
it's
Okay,
Melissa. It
yes.
is.
All right. So Melissa, I think Melissa would have thought about this because it's not going to be like, hey, Doria, here's your suit. You get to be a hero while the suit works. If it gets crushed, like you're going to have to wait another like 8 years to get another one. So I think she and Hatsume would have figured out a way like, okay, we've beefed it up all the like so much. How are we going to be able to recreate it in a faster turnaround time? Again, it's not the goal to destroy the suit, but of course, after fights, battles, whatever, things get damaged. So I think they would have taken that into consideration.
Do you think May's on Melissa's level now? Because obviously Melissa made the better gauntlets, and
Mm-hmm.
then May even admitted it's like, yeah, this is beyond me. But here's like a
Yeah,
lesser
here's something.
version.
Yeah, a lesser version in like 30 seconds, not
Hmm.
even. So I wonder. I feel like it depends
Obviously,
because
May is popular. Obviously,
yes, she
because
is. Oh, that was so cool to see the kids talk about like who they wanted to become, and they didn't say it this way, but this is the way I saw it. And again, going back to like wanting to be everyday heroes, talking about that they wanted to do support items and go work with May, that they wanted to go, I want to do coding for a living. I want to go work with Gentle Criminal and La Brava's company. Um, I want to be like the doctor who, saves people that seem to be beyond saving. Like that's what I want to do. And again, so especially like talking about a doctor, an engineer essentially, and coders, designers, software engineers, like their everyday, you know, careers and occupations that we have. And again, they're all heroes in some way because what they do is important and vital to the overall, you know, support of society, fabric of society, XYZ.
no. So she's doing really. They're doing well. But yeah, it was those two, and he got the suit. Obviously, before that, they taught. I mean, Midoriya basically ran into a new
A
age
little
version.
him.
He knew
Yeah,
him,
a little him.
and then Midoriya. He's like, "Oh my God, you're Deku. You're Ezekiel Midoriya. You're actually real." And like, obviously, it looks like they have the statues of the Class 1A students who
Yes, we
contributed to
see
the
Midoriya
world.
pass, yep, the statues of the 1A students, but then the statue that they're standing in front of, that was to me, a great moment. In that, Dai is saying that he comes to kind of talk to the All Might statue when he's feeling unsure and doubt or
Hmm.
whatever. And so when we hear All Might statue, we just think they rebuilt the one that was always standing there, just himself.
Yep.
But then when they pan out for us to see it, it is the All Might statue, same pose, but then it's all just everyday citizens standing all around him and in line with him doing that same pose. And I recognized the guy that gave Midoriya the shirt as one of those statues. So I don't know, like, who they decided exactly gets to be thrown into the statue. If it was, the people at, um,
Random.
yeah, at the UA bunker that pitched in, or just a couple people, and then just everyday ordinary citizens pulled off the street, whatever it was. But that was awesome. That I thought was amazing. I did not expect that.
Yeah, so then obviously he gives the whole thing, you can be a hero, all that jazz, and then then he gets the suit from All Might. All Might saying the same thing, like this is a power you earned and all that. Also, when you see the suit go onto his arm, that's the same arm where he was saying goodbye to One for All, where the Ember, same thing. So that was crazy. Then him crying. So that was really, really cool. So some of the things, and then I'll get to the things the differences. You talked about moments that got you in the fields, like that part. That one hit me. The end, reenacting the season 1.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Like that one, I was just like, oh my god, this is the season 1 open. Like, and then when you watch them side by side, you're just like, this has really been almost 10 years watching the show. And like seeing what they looked like in season 1 to what they look like now coming in. The other thing, which this one, the first one, this is the first anime difference.
Okay.
In the manga, Shigaraki was just on the ground. When his ghost.
Oh, when his ghost appears, yeah.
He was just on the ground.
Okay.
In the anime, they put him on the same building Midoriya met All Might.
Oh my god, that's right.
That is first big anime manga difference for y'all. Yep. They put him on the same building. That's why Midoriya was looking at that building too, because that's where it all started, and Shigaraki was there. Yep. So that's one big. That's a difference between the anime and manga.
Wow.
So like those moments, I was just like, I've watched those moments multiple times. So that was something with them and all of that jazz. So there's a lot. So I'm gonna give.
Okay, let's go.
And this is probably what they probably saw what pissed people off in the manga and made the changes in the anime. So Koki, the kid we were talking about.
Oh, okay.
His story greatly expanded the anime. Like the moments of like in the manga, you just see the kid walking around. Anime, you got to see his family deemed his quirk dangerous and locked him up in the basement.
Oh, okay.
The montage of Class 1A's final year at UA, super expanded.
Okay.
So Mirko was flying in the streets. You shown like she was with Mount Lady. Yep. In the anime, in the manga, she was just alone suiting up.
Got it. Okay. She did have a different arm.
Yeah, so in the manga they just had her suiting up with the new stuff. Anime, they had her next to Mount Lady. Big one. This is another big one.
Okay.
With Endeavor and talking to Toya with Ray coming. Different in the manga. That's a panel of Endeavor with the sidekicks.
Oh. That they're all there to talk to Toya?
Like there's a panel with his sidekicks. Like he's not even talking to Toya. So they added that him and Ray are still going. They added those extra. Yeah, they added the extra one, but it was him and the sidekicks because he called the sidekicks on. They were just checking him because he's retired.
Yeah.
Eraser and President Mike. They made it very more clear in the anime that they were at. His grave. But then it got added that they brought the purple flowers. That was for midnight.
I did not catch that. I did not catch that.
Yeah, so they brought the purple flowers to allude for midnight. So that's that was different because they were obviously that was their
both. Yeah.
President Mike showing the kids cheering when they took their test in the anime. That's in the anime only. Class 1A jogging together. That's anime only. Training to be pro hero license. When Bakugo's being cheered during that stuff, the anime adds him yelling at the classmates to shut up.
Shut up, yeah.
This was omitted from the anime to come back to one of the things you talked about. in the manga, Melissa reunites with the class after to see how they're obviously to check on them and all that stuff. That was not in the anime.
Man, I would have loved that. That would
Uh,
have been so cool.
Anime shows several people seeing Spinner's League of Villains book on sale and contemplate buying it. The stack is also accompanied by a label stating it is a popular release that is anime only. This is a thing that I know this pissed people off a year ago because it didn't get stuff didn't happen. The Tenya's speech and receiving their diplomas, anime only. That was not in the manga.
I was one. Okay. I did wonder about that a little bit. I will say, I really appreciated Tenya's haircut. I felt like it suited him way better. It helped to age him, whereas most of the rest of the class looked kind of about the same. I did find the choice odd to have Bakugo and Monoma like come through the wall. I know that's a callback to.
Yep, that's why. That's why they did it.
I know that's a callback, but like I thought maybe that was just kind of like a one-off, ha thing because that's Togata. But I now I'm wondering like, is that a tradition for UA period? So
no, it's an even bigger. It's a bigger callback than that.
Okay.
2 reasons.
Okay.
1, that's the last time you see Monoma.
True. Wait, no, we see. I thought we.
Well, last time you see him copy a quirk. The first.
Yes.
The first quirk you ever saw him copy in the show was Bakugo's That's and then the other callback is because you saw that they played Hero 2 when they graduated.
Yes.
Hero 2 started in that season with Bakugo doing that same explosion. That's how they started Hero 2. So it was 2 callbacks to that. That's why they did that.
Oh, wow.
When Menzo basically got the My Hero version of the Nobel Peace Prize,
yes,
him taking off his mask, that was only anime only. They kept his mask on in the manga, which whatever. Uraraka, we talked about her quirk counseling. Quirk counseling. That session's more of them shown in the anime. Shots of Shoto, Mirio, Neto, and Juzo are shown. When Izuku talks about their places in the hero billboard chart, that's only the anime. In the manga, I already talked about that spot about Tenko, Shigaraki stuff. In the credits, the anime shows a montage detailing more of Class 1-8 careers and lives, which pulls from various sources. So that's all anime, basically, exclusive.
Okay.
See that again. You basically ended where Midoriya gets a suit, and then he's jumping with him, and then that's how the manga ends. So people are like, "What the hell?" But then, there was, an epilogue thing that the author had to make. And then he also has a Ultra H final fan book coming out. So this stuff will be in there, too. So, showing Toru going independent, recruiting Yuga, who later became his hero as a sidekick. Uraraka and Sue, best friends, teaming up to do quirk counseling. Koji working as Mezzo's sidekick. Denki having, obviously, Earphone and Denki.
Yep.
Jiro having agencies next to each other due to Denki being anxious, going independent on his own. Those are all anime only stuff.
Okay.
Toru's face being shown during duty, because now it makes more sense because, you're on duty. But then now everyone's seeing her face, and they're basically like, oh, this girl's hot. So then they get all the public attention, and you see her on the commercials and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Reflecting she did that stuff on Christmas.
Yep.
Hiroji gets media attention from his zealous comments, while Mina is popular with the young crowd.
And she enters dance competitions, which makes total sense.
Yep. He has the chivalrous calendar.
That sold out.
Yep. Uraraka and Sue both did sidekick gigs before going independent. Menzo and Koji dealing with human rights issues. Eri continuing to play and singing with Earphone, with Jiro. Also, that is anime only too, because if you look at the picture where it's Eri, Denki, and Jiro, those 3 doing that.
Yeah.
If you go back to Hero 2 in Season 4, same 4 poses of Jiro as a kid and her parents, because her dad has the same hair color as Denki.
Yes.
So just going back to that, opening up the martial arts scene. Tenya inheriting his brother's agency while
Right.
with support items. Now his brother can walk.
Yeah.
So that is the animated kid puts the braces around his legs to show that he could walk upright. Hanta becoming popular despite his non-flashy quirk. Well, obviously Mineta didn't receive the same warm reception. The elementary school. This goes back to your thing. The elementary school, that is an annual event called the Five Wees Festival in Shoto's honor. Ezekiel teaching history at UA. Those were all expanded. This was all now. The rest of the stuff is all anime original stuff. The deep cover operations, those two, and Mystery Man Lurking in the Darkest, anime only. That's only anime only. In Tenya's agency, primary assisting lost children, anime only.
Yeah. Okay.
Momo doing plenty of research and being involved in many global projects, anime only. Not in the manga. Shoto ranked 8th on the Hero Billboard chart right after going independent, anime only. This one was kind of crazy, but this one got me in the feels too. Bakugo hanging out with Best Jeanist and mostly cover Edshot, anime only. One of Midoriya's classes in UA involves the students mingling with younger kids, anime only. So that is a plethora of differences between the anime and the manga. Yes. And then when you just see how much it gets when it gets posted in chat, like how much that really is, it's a lot.
It is a lot. And to me, okay, so it wasn't, so for me, some of those changes are small, so I didn't feel any sort of impact on my original statement about like the ending being perfect. So I will now amend that statement in the sense of if I had been manga only, I would have felt a little bit of there's still so much left to be said about all of them, where they ended up, and I would have been curious about it. Again, that still sets up, like you mentioned, he's got a what was it called, coming out soon? Basically,
so like obviously we had because as soon as the show was over, I actually went back and reread the Ultra Hero analysis. Basically, like if you knew Naruto, they had like the data books.
The data books, right?
Yeah, so then he's gonna have a Ultra Age, the final fan book. So it's basically probably gonna answer a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
And that comes out. Well, it's out in Japanese. Well, that's where it's already out in Japanese. It's just we don't have an English translated one.
Well, I wonder if this is the English translated version. Like this information is coming from there. Like that's so it's not from the quote unquote manga, which is a true statement, but maybe all of this information came from
a lot did, but there was also a special one shot in there where we talk about how these people have aged. It focuses on a young middle schooler named Eri.
Yay!
So she is a focus in the one shot there, and there's also some stuff where I can give some spoilers on some of the stuff because it was some of the stuff that I've seen. But yes, there was stuff, but that's a lot, and I could see why again because last year I remember on Twitter there was a huge outrage. Oh, why is Mineta still wearing a diaper? He still wants to be popular or wearing that. I couldn't tell you. And it's kind of crazy, too, because Mineta went super serious mode during the war. Like, he was staring down all for one, angry and pissed off. Like, the fact that he needs a better stylist. I don't know. He needs to call Best Jeanist and he can get him right. But, so I remember a year ago, everyone was just harping on the ending, like, this, and I can't believe this is how the manga ended. This is kind of weak. This is kind of that. This is kind of trash. This. And, like, I stayed away from as much as possible, and I was just like, well, I'm going to just bookmark and tag, so that I could read back what was going on, and it just looks like a lot of stuff was not fleshed out that they wanted to be fleshed out. Obviously, we talked about, like, they wanted Midoriya did all this work to be a W9 history teacher, like getting a W2, like he did all this work to do all this stuff, and then he gets this suit. Like I know people were pissed about that when that happened, and just all the stuff about not seeing where people ended up, and then you have a side of the fandom who, the ship side who didn't get to see any
And
ships.
okay, so on that note, A, they're still young adults. B, as pro heroes, they may not have that information out there, so that could just be an extension of the like, oh, their private lives are private, da 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 da. But on specifically for the Midoriya and Uraraka like ship, I mean, guys, we had a whole moment, the second to last episode, where he, now in the eyes of basically everyone in the entire world, he is the greatest hero. He is the greatest hero. He just saved the world. But he's out there standing in front of her saying, you always put others ahead of yourself, just like him. Which, the first time I watched it, I literally said that. I was like, Midoriya, you do that too. But he specifically references all the times that she either stepped up for him or literally saved him. Mm-hmm. And he tells her that she's his greatest hero. And I feel like within this universe, within this context, within their class and their relationship, that's basically a confession. Like, if nothing else, I don't mean for this to be like, all doom and gloom, but how many high school relationships actually make it? I know this is anime and we can make it as idealistic as we want to, but technically there is a real possibility that, maybe Momo and Todoroki would have gotten together like senior year, and she's doing all these global projects, again, anime only as of now, but they might not be able to sustain a relationship with her jetting around the world all the time. Who knows? Maybe she wants kids and Todoroki doesn't want any, or Shoto doesn't want any. Like, you can get into it where not all ships have to be confirmed. And honestly, as a shipper myself, it can be a little bit fun not having any ships specifically, canonized, because then you can just let your imagination run and believe whatever you want to. Hell, it happens regardless. I'm a Zutara shipper. Aang and Katara have several kids and grandkids, but in my heart, they're real. So again, I get it, but at the same time, it's really not that big of a deal. I know on the flip side of that, some people felt like it was so forced in Naruto to have all of those ships confirmed at the very end during the movie. Like,
yeah,
I feel like there's no winning.
Well, I mean, obviously, if it forces out whatever, but I already said on this podcast almost years ago that I always, if they wanted to make, and this is the one time I'll even talk about this stuff, but I always thought that Bakugo should have ended up with Uraraka instead.
I remember.
Because they had that fight
Yep.
in the thing where everyone's just like, oh my god, I can't believe you treated a girl like that. And then his answer was like, I treat her because I respect her.
Respect her, right.
Like, I respect like that. I needed to do that.
What about her is weak? And it's like, oh, that's true, because legitimate. I mean, he even admitted at that end, we saw a quiver in the hand of like, if he didn't put her down when he did, he would have lost that fight. Which, low-key, part of me wishes that had happened, because like, holy shit, for the shift of the entire
it would have been a shocking moment looking through that thing. And then I remember I sent you like weeks ago like that animated version of them like having a little rematch, just like a hand-to-hand thing.
Yes.
But that was really cool. Like, that was really good animation. But also too in the movie where they had the dance, and I was just like,
their shit was literally matching. Although I guess technically speaking, Kirishima had two different outfits for Bakugo, so he could have gone with the other one. And just, I understand it's a little bit happenstance, but again, these choices are made deliberately. Although it was a movie and not written by, or I don't know if it was written by.
I mean, the movie.
I know he says it's all canon. It's all canon, so I know that. But technically, like, was it his idea to make sure that his outfit was matching Uraraka's stuff? Plus, then they danced together. And to me, even an extension, a really popular ship is Deku and Bakugo.
Oh, that was another. I saw a lot of tweets about that. They're like, thank God everyone, even though it's not confirmed, but they're just like, thank God everyone ended My Hero Academia straight. I saw that one on the.
Oh my God! So, and again, I'm not a knock to that ship. However, again, I just highlighted how Midoriya and Uraraka are so similar.
No,
And again, Bakugo has come to appreciate Midoriya. He respects Midoriya. He already respected Uraraka as a fighter, as a hero, as a potential hero during the sports festival, all that good stuff. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that like he could like her. I find it a little harder to believe that she would want to get with him as easily, I would say, only because she knows how mean he was to Midoriya. Of course, she's also seen that growth. But I don't know. That's the flip side of that is a little bit harder for me, especially knowing that she has that crush on Deku. So like that's the harder sell for me. I think them as a couple is really cute. I don't think they'd be a bad couple. I just think it'd be a little harder for her to fall for Bakugo after being in love with Deku, if that makes sense.
Then going back to some comments in here before that, no, obviously Bakugo was going to win that fight. We were saying, like, going back to some wrestling terms, I don't know if you're a fan of wrestling, but if you would have reversed the finish, like if you wanted to do like a big shock thing, obviously that would have messed up like some of the character development for Bakugo. For sure. Like obviously he had a lot more. Obviously the one realistic thing, because I was actually looking at that bracket a couple days, no, just yesterday because the show ended. Mm-hmm. I was just like, I still think Bakugo would have beat Todoroki, but if Todoroki actually would have used like the fire, like I think that could have been one of a top fight of the series, but we never got that because obviously he reverted back. But going back, talking about Andrew, I did ask a question in the chat.
Okay.
Would people want to support? Would they support a My Hero Academia movie, like movie 5, about the adults of Class 1A, like them being adults, doing their hero work, all that stuff? Got Byron would love to see the movie adults, and then another comment would be a 5th movie would be nice. Maybe a movie about heroes against other heroes across the world, like a sports festival, but larger.
Like the amped up Olympics. Like it'd be so cool, yeah.
Or like the Prime, or going backstory, actually seeing how Prime All Might beat Prime All for One, which that's something too. The all nation sports, like you said, Olympics. First thing came to mind was tuning exams for me.
Right.
Like seeing, but that's the thing we're gonna talk about now, because there's some things that have changed. Mm-hmm. So let's just go give you some of these things. The current pro heroes. This is before Midoriya gets his suit.
Right.
Okay. The number one, which we finally see the dream come true for Mr. Night-Eye, Lemillion. So
Lemillion.
I'm
sorry, I hate his haircut.
I don't like his new haircut, but someone told him to do it. Whatever. Number one is Lemillion. Obviously, that's my favorite character. So I was like, finally, time has come. Shoto number 2, Mount Lady 3, Cameo Woods 4, Best Genius. He's still in the top. He's in 5. Mirko 6. Nigeri 7. Wash 8. Tentacle 9.
Wash.
Yeah, Phantom Thief 10, Fat Gum 11, Red Wyatt 12, Indenium 13, Mudman 14, Bakugo 15, Gale Force we were just talking about 16,
yes.
Tsukuyomi 17, Sun Eater 18, Momo 19, Grand 20, Grand Orca 21. If you remember the Lizard Girl who was shocked when Bakugo stomped their team, 22.
Okay.
Battle Fist, obviously we call it Momo's rival. Yes. 23, Uraraka 24, Real Steel 26, Pinky 28, Earphone Jack 30, Tailman 32, Comic Man 33, Froppy 34, Cell Phone 36, Invisible Girl 39. Why am I blanking on her name? She was Uraraka and Froppy's instructor during season 4. The Dragon Lady.
Ryoku?
Yep, Ryoku. 40. Shishiki Cross, if you remember him, he's in that other school with Cammy and Gale Force. 40.
Oh, yes, the one with the emo haircut.
Yeah. Death Arms, 42. Charge Board, 44. And these are only the heroes that they have ranked. Present
Right.
Mike 45 and Minette
Interesting.
and Grape Juice aka Minette 108. So now spoilers ahead
Mm-hmm.
because let's talk about right when Midoriya gets into the fold.
Uh-huh. Once he gets his suit, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Lemillion number 1,
Uh-huh.
Shoto number 2,
Okay.
Mount Lady number 3,
Okay.
Midoriya number 4, and Bakugo number 5.
Yes.
Once Bakugo, for anyone who watched Dragon Ball Z, if you remember when Goku sacrificed himself against Cell and Vegeta's like, I'll never fight again and lost all motivation to fight because his rival was gone.
Right.
Obviously, Bakugo's doing stuff, but his rival was gone. But as soon as Midoriya gets in the fold, he is right
Right. Back on top
instantly,
of it.
yep,
Yeah.
into the top 5. So that's the top 5 that they showed in there. And I'm actually, I guess she's total package, I guess. But I was shocked Mount Lady was 3.
I was surprised as well. Probably just because I don't like her with the same fervor. Obviously, they also adjusted how the rankings are because
Yes.
it was a passing comment made in the conversation between All Might and Hawks that he wanted to reinstitute it. And All Might was like, "Oh, I thought we had kind of, the idea would be to get rid of it all together because it kind of bred some, bad things." And Hawks is like, if you only look at it from the negative, getting rid of the negative things, yeah, totally. However, like I want to preserve like the good parts about it, and we see the flashback of him, as a little kid looking at his Endeavor plushie. um so there were good things about the ranking system. To my memory from the last two episodes, they never really talked about how, but I've seen content creators talk about it as it's a combination between popularity as well as works completed. So like what hero work they're actually doing. It's not just completely based off of, who's the most popular because of looks or who's the most popular because, they're in the news the most or whatever it is. Um,
No,
but
you're 100%
okay,
right on
cool.
that because it's a ability to solve high profile cases
Hmm.
affects your ranking um, because ranking and approval rating. Because for example, Endeavor, he even said it before, like he had like
Yeah,
solving the most cases since he was like 18, blah blah blah.
right,
He was solving the most stuff because that was so far up, but he had lower approval ratings popularity wise than Best Genius and Hawks. But since he was so much up in case resolution count, that's how he
right.
became like
The number two
number
and then
number
number
one.
one.
And then obviously they have the right to reserve changes, like when people get hurt, like All Might retired. So and then All Might was just number one on in the planet. So
Yeah.
that's what it was. Which it's funny how when All Might retired, we went from him being number one in the planet to now just focusing on the number one in Japan because we don't know
Hmm.
who would be the number one person in the
Right.
planet. Now, if I had a guess, that person is dead right now. Um, but yeah, that's really so. It's cool seeing them up there. Like, you want to talk about staying because we didn't know what happened to Best Genius because we haven't seen it. The fact that Best Genius has been in the top 10 since
10
this show has
always, yeah.
started is crazy. Like,
Well,
he,
so is Wash and Mount Lady
well,
and Mirko as well in the top 10.
yeah, but they weren't in the top 10 when the show when we first started this show. Like the when we very first started,
I thought they were in the
they weren't.
very.
They weren't in the top 10 before until All Might retired. I'm talking about what we
Okay.
very start like because number one was All Might, Endeavor,
Hmm.
Hawks, Best Genius, Edge Shot, Crush, Euro Musha 8, Roku 9, Gang Orca 10.
That's right. That's right.
Like that
That's
was
right.
the very first. That was a top 10 from chapter 3 all the way to chapter 183.
Damn, that's a lot of chapters between their whole. Okay.
Yeah, and then the Endeavor number one rankings were from chapter 184 to 339.
Uh huh.
And then time step rankings were chapter 431.
Wash, I think, was number 13 or something like that. Because I remember the first
Number
time the
8.
Wash.
Number 8 in Endeavor's rankings.
Okay, so that's what it is. Okay, because I remember Wash being introduced, and I'm like, the like I believe we were both perplexed by Wash. It was like, why are they number what? Okay.
Mount
And the fact that,
Lady, Mount Lady entered those rankings for the first time when Endeavor
yeah,
got ranked number one. She was 23.
yeah, she was young. I remember that because she and
No, she
Conley
was ranked
Woods.
number 23.
Oh, okay.
So she was 23, ranked. She was 23, and Kamiya was 7. And that was the first time both of them
Mm-hmm.
entered those rankings.
That's right. That's
So
right.
then, obviously, they to the time skip, they've jumped from 7 to 23 to 3 and 4, and then she's still 3. Yeah. So
Fair enough. Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
just
and Best Genius has been top one. He has been top until Midoriya, until a million Shoto, Mount Lady Deku, and Bakugo's top 5. He's probably still in the top 10, but before that, he's been in the top 5 the whole series.
he's I
He's a
and
good one.
I
He's a good one.
he's a good one. He's a consistent one, and he's definitely one that just
Thought he died in the first year when All For One
well,
put a hole
yeah,
in his chest.
yeah, for real.
Like he destroyed. We didn't see him again till season 6.
Yep, and it was a surprise. It was like, hey, LOL, I'm actually not dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we all thought he was gone and he was done. So I mean, it's obviously well deserved. All of their spots are well deserved. I'm just again, I still question like, what does the Wash hero do? Like, how do they? Did, we got to see them one time after the war, and that's when the citizens were kind of reacting poorly to their interventions.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the only time we've actually seen them in action.
Let's talk about the change in that too, because God, the end of season 6, it was bad out. No one cared about the heroes. They were.
Mm-mm. They were getting their own support items, not knowing how to use them,
Mm-hmm.
just reacting out of fear and paranoia and anxiety instead of trying to stay calm and de-escalate or let trained professionals intervene because they didn't trust them anymore.
Yep. Yep. Like that was a time.
That was the Wild West, is what it was.
It was martial law, pretty like it was every man for him. Like tough. It was absolutely bonkers. So, Jump Festa is happening
Mm-hmm.
the weekend before Anime League. So usually it's like that second to last week and all that stuff, and like My
Yeah.
Hero's having a thing. Obviously, there's speculation.
Yes.
People are talking about they're gonna get. We're gonna get an OVA about like seeing Midoriya because I think his again spoilers because this was in the fan like the stuff that's on Japan. Spoilers. His name is the One for All hero.
Mm-hmm.
One for All hero Deku. Which also that was another thing that almost got me in the feels because from that was Bakugo's first time calling him Deku since the apology.
Right.
So the fact that he wasn't gonna call him that unless I was a superhero and like that would got because I was like, oh my god, he hasn't called this guy that and
Forever.
since the apology because he made sure to call him Izuku the
The whole time.
whole rest of the way. Um. Oh, that's funny. Got a comment. Wash would have soloed Shigaraki if he was in that coffin. Trust.
But he cleaned his act up. I
Oh.
believe that. Okay.
I was
Maybe would
actually.
have added a little extra moisture to the skin.
hmm
Maybe.
I was actually watching one of those clips how they messed up, man. When they busted into
Yeah.
Shigaraki's thing in the hospital and they hit the wrong shit. And then
Oh,
Shigaraki woke up, touched something, and everything went to shit. Shield Hero died in
yeah.
that. Like, I watched all those people die in that town. Like, disintegrated towns. Everyone's like, what's going on? We're losing communication. And Shigaraki calls the thing, and Gigamaki is waiting. I'm like, wow. This was 2 years ago. Life was really hell.
It was. It was. And it didn't get better anytime soon. And again, well, within the reality of the actual series, it did. It actually wasn't shit for that long because all of this happens within the span of fucking what? A year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
So thankfully they had a quick turnaround. But for us as the audience and as anime only audience, yeah, we were sitting in this like, how in the hell are they going to make it out of this? Like, how many more people are going to die? In the last podcast, I'm pretty sure it was, I made the comment about how like if Midoriya hadn't kind of like incorporated Principal Nezu's strategy in the floating coffin, all of Japan potentially would have disintegrated because he did try to make contact to decay the ground. And
Yep.
he made that specific comment that it would probably only take him what, like a couple days to sink the entire freaking country.
Yep. Which I also don't like how we don't see what he's doing.
Principal Nezu? Valid, because that was a thought that I had. We see it in, is it the third to last episode where he has his little like Nick Fury moment that he's, talking to the screen of all the different, probably heads of state, military leaders, whatever, from across the world. But yeah, they didn't really comment on that. But again, it all of that as it stands now is anime only. So they probably just figured like we already commented on what Principal Nezu was doing, and
Could
we
still
would,
be
yell.
principal. We could still be, but it's like
I would assume so, because who? Well,
eraser.
maybe that's actually a valid point because I was thinking about it. I was like, well, who would be principal if not? But yeah, because if Midoriya is, one of the teachers, maybe Aizawa doesn't need to teach anymore. Now he's the principal. Who
Because I did
knows?
see something that All Might becomes vice principal.
That is about. Ooh, that's true too. Because we didn't get an update as to what All Might does. We just know that he's visibly older. You can see wrinkles now.
Yeah, but you can also see that he's less stressed because now the black in his things are just white because it's like his main op is dead for good.
Yep.
For
Yep. He
good,
can
good.
finally rest easy. Yeah.
Until a kid's bored with a revive quirk and they can have Dragon Ball abilities so they can bring someone
Shut
back from the dead.
up.
Hey, quirk singularity
No.
theory. I'm a firm believer. That's
I
a
mean,
real.
it's true. It's already been proven. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is beyond that. I will say that's something that I wish they might have touched on is the fact that that theory is now being hailed as accurate because again, Aries quirk, um, what's another big example? Overhaul's quirk. Like, uh, I mean, there's just too many examples of quirks becoming stronger through the generations for that not to be a accepted theory. And again, even with that's part of the whole comment about Uraraka and Froppy's push for quirk counseling. It's one of the most needed things in their society currently.
Yeah.
And that's going to continue to be the case. Why? Because of quirk singularity theory.
Yeah, and also I saw that thing too of like she's obviously doing that in memory of Toga.
Toga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like if she would have got that counseling, maybe she doesn't turn out the way that she
Right. And maybe she
turns
would
out
have
to be.
been. I've seen actually a little bit of content being made about how Toga could have literally been one of the most powerful heroes because once she would have, if she wanted to be a hero, she would have eventually learned in a better way that that she can copy the quirks of the people she loves, and maybe she could have copied multiple quirks at the same time, kind of like Monoma does. And so she could have been emulating Midoriya, Bakugo, Uraraka
Not
earlier
Midoriya,
on.
not
For
Midoriya,
you
not a
don't think
chance.
so? Oh well, duh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
Because
Monoma
Monoma
couldn't. No,
can't.
hell
Right.
no.
That's right. They
You,
can't do
I'll never
that.
forget
That's
that.
right.
Midoriya was like, "Oh
Oh,
my god, if this
you about
happens."
to explode?
Hmm.
Yes, yes. But that's true. But like many other quirks, and so she would have been able to have that, you know, in her repertoire, her arsenal.
Hmm.
Plus, she also would have been again, and she can turn into people even that she doesn't like, look like them, talk like them, sound like them. She'd be great in assisting with the undercover fucking investigations with Shinsho. Like,
Agreed. Agreed. It's yeah.
also talk about being a universal donor. We just saw her turn into Uraraka to give Uraraka her own blood. So she could have been clutch in creating, life saving. Um, I don't remember what disease it was, but there was a gentleman that received a blood transfusion when he was really young. So like every month for the rest of his life, he donated blood, and he had a really rare, I think it was like RH factor in his blood
Hmm.
that helped save like so many people with this very specific type of illness or disease, blood illness or disease with his blood. And so, like, she could have turned into whoever has those special qualities. She could have reduced the, I don't know about my hero, but in our world, we have a blood supply shortage. There's also, is it AB negative is the most rare blood? She could turn into somebody who has that blood and continually donate. And so yeah, just if she would have had that counseling intervention early on, yeah, that's the hope is that she would have been she would have been, still there with them.
Still alive. I mean, it's unfortunate because the people who died, they had to go.
They did.
Shigaraki had to go. Twice had to go. Unfortunately, I'll get it from
Yep.
this. Like once, twice died. Toga wasn't gonna stop until she got revenge, so she needed to die too. Like it's
She
just
did.
like those ones had to.
They did.
It's kind of crazy too because when Spinner wrote that book, I was like, oh, he must be out then because I don't think they would let him write the book and then publish it from jail.
I don't know. I actually kind of had the opposite thought because there are, murderers and, serial killers that write books from prison. OJ wrote his book from prison and it was published. And essentially what happened is they sued um, the family of Ron Goldman. I'm not sure if Nicole's family also sued, but at least the family of Ron Goldman like sued for the like proceeds of the book to like pay the victims' families as like restitution. So like he never saw a cent. So like I wonder if maybe that's kind of what happened, not like a restitution thing, but they would have at least let him release it from prison. Um,
Oh,
I don't know. That is a good question. I don't know Japanese
speaking
law like that. So
speaking of questions, I got a question in the comments. If you were all for one, wouldn't you try and steal Aizawa's quirk? Like that's one of the quirks I would make sure I have in my arsenal. With
right,
that, beating one for all users would have been a piece of cake. Yeah, so that quirk he didn't try. I know he tried to get. Obviously, thank God, he tried to get Star and Stripes quirk because that would have
right,
been terrible. And
yep,
obviously, Aizawa he was able to stop Midoriya doing his quirk when he first started, like at the baseball thing.
yeah.
But let's throw this out now because this is post baseball. This is post like he
Hmm.
talks to the vestiges. Would Aizawa's quirk work now? Would all if all of them are talking in Midoriya's head?
I don't know. I don't know. That
That's
is a
just a
good
general question.
question. That is a
Because
good question.
if you stop that one for all, does it stop the other seven whatever quirks? Like, what if he just switches and is like, oh, I'm just gonna use Black Whip or that stuff? Or now with the vestiges in his brain, tell him like, hey, this ain't gonna work. Because I know we saw them interfere for the first time when he was going against Shinsho,
Yeah,
where they were like, yeah, this brainwashing, we're getting rid of it.
rid of it.
It's like if
That's
they did that,
true.
so that's on, and that was before he could talk to him. They're just
Right.
like, dude, you're the MC. We can't have you losing this early. So that's just a question to throw back at you. Like now with them all talking, could they have just reverted
Uno
it?
reversed it. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I I do agree with the sentiment though. Like it is a little strange that again he sought out a sort of like polygraph esque quirk to where like when people are talking to him, he can tell if they're lying or something.
And he could locate someone that all took that quirk.
Right.
Hmm.
So I wonder if he had never actually previously come across somebody with an erasure quirk. And maybe it was, Eraserhead didn't come on the scene until he was already beaten back to the point where he couldn't necessarily like take it. But I feel like that had to have been part of his plans at some point. Like once he knew that quirk existed, I feel like he would have tried to find it. But maybe it is
Oh, so he's
just an extremely rare quirk that he's not able to find a lesser version of in somebody else who's easier to access versus an actual pro hero who is now working alongside All Might.
well, he just said too, not against Midoriya because we brought up the vestige and stuff. But he's saying
Hmm.
like when he was going against All Might, wouldn't that have because All Might I guess yeah, because Prime All Might only
Yeah,
you just maximized one for
yeah,
all, like just the physical thing that none of the other quirks they all just sat at home, like
right,
until the MC came. So
right.
no, that would be interesting because obviously All for One we have talked on the previous episode. You should listen to that. He absolutely knows everything. So
True.
maybe he just it could have been also a pride thing. I would say it's
Maybe.
also just my thinking like he's killed every one for all user
Yeah,
before
he
All
didn't need to
Might.
turn off he didn't need to turn off their quirks to beat
Yeah.
them, so I guess that also was just like low priority. I also wonder now that you say a pride thing, it calls back to remember I found this to be a satisfying moment in the moment.
Hmm.
But when Shigaraki, Overhaul's been captured, arrested, the League of Villains jumps the truck and he takes Shizaki's arms and be like, for somebody who wants to get rid of people's quirks, you use your quirk quite a bit. So I do wonder if, All for One might have had that same kind of notion of I like using quirks. I don't want somebody turning off my shit.
I have a retort to that now because now we know what
Okay.
we know.
Yeah.
Because obviously now we learned that Shigaraki and them didn't move without All for One's orders.
True.
All for One might have told Shigaraki to do that, so then Shigaraki never found out that his quirk was derived from Overhaul.
Right. That.
Now
Ooh.
that we know what we know,
Right.
because eventually he could have found out, and he would be like, "What do you mean my quirk came from him? My quirk came from my parents." And nope. And
Right.
then he finds out earlier that everything is.
Fabricated and
Mm-hmm.
comes loose. And I mean, hell, if he had gotten that information earlier to realize that his whole life, he was set up in a bubble to believe that the bubble was always there,
Yep.
but somebody put him in that bubble.
Mm-hmm. Since
Um,
birth.
and it would have his unraveling would have happened faster. And I wonder if that would have been strong enough and early enough for him to pivot away from all that he knew. Basically, going back to hell, you orchestrated all of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're a bad guy. I need to be a good guy to beat your ass. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
That like it's enough of a moment for him to make that about face early enough in his life that he hasn't killed people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but who knows? That's not the story that we got. That's not the story. Um, how his life, how the story of how they all became the greatest heroes. Oh
Which is
my god.
obviously a change from the
Mm-hmm.
very first episode, because obviously it's how I became
I
the greatest
became the
hero,
greatest
and
hero.
then it's obviously the weave, like the people, the heroes, the
Mm-hmm.
commoners, and all of that
So
jazz.
actually, as soon as I said that out loud, Martin, I had a random thought pop. It's not random. I shouldn't say that. I had a thought pop in my head as I said that and realized that in saying that we all became the greatest heroes, I think part of the reason Shigaraki's vestige or ghost kind of pops up and makes an appearance is because he's included in that group because he was the hero for the villains.
That's a good point. I was thinking more from a. That's a good point. I was thinking more of things where he was just like he was popping in and he's like, "Oh,
Oh
Midoriya's been
yeah, no,
doing."
he was definitely
He was
popping.
doing
The
his
first
best and then walks back away.
yeah, that he because the way I viewed it in the scene was that like he's looking up at Midoriya like look at you go. He's smiling at him, so
Hmm.
he's to me he's giving that nod of approval that they're in the right direction. He's doing the right thing. He's done the right thing, and then he like disappears. But in making that statement, I just realized that technically, again, and it happened in the final episode, meeting with Spinner, talking about how Shigaraki was his hero, and he said he had to be the hero for the League of Villains. That yeah, technically, I mean, yes, he was the biggest villain, the biggest threat to the world, but in being the biggest threat to the current world order, that makes him the greatest hero to the villains, to
Yeah,
to the ones that wanted it to be destroyed.
yeah. Oh, come! I think if he really wanted his brother, if All for One really wanted his brother that badly, he would have stolen Eraser, taken back One for All, killed All Might, done. Because in season 8, episode 7, All for One admitted All Might had him in the run. You meant on the run? But
Probably.
but no, I get it. I mean, it's a smart thing. It's just again, he didn't think he. I don't think he really wanted his brother. I know that was BS, but well, that. But
I don't agree with that part. I do think it was a
in
you
his
know
like me wanting my brother is different than him wanting his brother.
well, yes, for sure.
Like that.
Martin, you're a normal human being. You're not the
Well,
ultimate, demon lord of the underground.
he thought he was normal. All for One
No,
did.
no.
He was
He
above.
definitely knew he never thought of himself as normal. He always thought of himself as better than everyone else. So he never considered himself normal.
That's his
Also, the
normal.
way
Him
he
better
plans
than
to
everyone else.
that's his status quo. True, but he never would have thought of himself as a normal man ever.
um. Yeah, on the run. That's what we thought. So, Andrea, now I mean, with it ending, obviously another 9 on the ratings. First anime in history to end their whole season
Yes.
on 9s or above. Pretty cool that for the ninth user to get that. What are what are your thoughts on now it being over? What did My Hero mean to you? And yeah,
Um, I'm gonna use a cliche. I don't know if this is a corporate term, but I'm hearing it a lot in my social work sphere. I feel like the end of My Hero is really a beautiful call to action to all of us
Hmm.
to care about one another more, to do more for one another, and you know, being cliche here to use the motto is, and go beyond. They didn't say plus ultra at the end. I did think that was a interesting choice. They just said go beyond, but we know what comes next, which is plus ultra. And so, I mean, that's the core of all of this, and it's no it's weird because of how in our faces it was, the quirk being one for all, and Deku inspiring all to come forward and contribute and be part of making the world better. It is one for all, and yeah, it's just, it calls us to be better and to engage more and look for commonalities. There's in his writing, we didn't really talk about the fact that he's writing, I guess, a history book or maybe his autobiography. They
No,
don't
he
specifically
teaches
say
the history.
history, right? And so it's like he
Yeah,
could be
talk about
writing,
that. You're a history teacher, and you get to talk about the history that you directly had involvement in.
right? And so, I mean, he specifically mentions, and I wonder if they're going to change this trend, like in the English dub. I'll be interested to see that. But immediately, once we see him like writing it, or he talks about how not everyone is equal, and he means it in the sense of like all of our experiences are different. We're all have different strengths. We all like, so no two people are exactly the same, is what he means by saying people not
Hmm.
everyone is equal, but that even when you have completely different people, we should all try to strive for commonality. And when there's truly no commonality, he's talking about, and then it pans over to the scene where we see Toya still talking to Endeavor and his mom, that you keep trying to connect
Hmm.
regardless. And it's that idea of you keep extending your hand even when they don't want to take it, because there may come a time that they will, that changes, that there's finally something that you've said, that you've done, that allows them to believe, okay, I can trust this, or I want to take this hand that's extended to me. Because a lot of times I know in our work, especially, and in our society, I'll say we feel like we extend our hands, and once it's been slapped away or ignored, okay, that's it. We got to
Yep.
take it back. You don't want it.
Yep.
But we also know it's a common response to a lack of trust,
Yep.
past experiences where a hand was extended to them, they reached for it, and maybe it slapped them across the face, gave them the finger, whatever it was, or they pulled it away right when they were about to reach for it. Whatever kind of metaphor you want to attach here, but know that we should keep making those attempts, keep letting it be known that we are here.
Yeah. No. So, I think for me, I
Mm-hmm.
think I've said it before, but this time, now that the series is over, it's like for a lot of people our age, especially
Yes.
like the other big gap, like when the Naruto manga ended when I was in college, my
Same.
freshman year,
Yep.
around that time frame. But then, obviously, the manga ended. You're waiting for the anime to do all
Anime to
that
catch up.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
From that point on until for years, I didn't have like a new anime that I liked. Like I would rewatch like the Naruto's and like the Dragon Balls and all of that stuff. Obviously, like Dragon Ball Super came and all that stuff, but that was like a continuation of something I
Yes.
knew, and it was,
Right.
and that only came about because of the movies being successful at that time. They're like, oh, let's just make a series now. But and then obviously like another new thing around that time too was like Digimon Tree. But again, I know the Digidestin. These are just when they were older, so I was like, all right, it was easy to watch. I'll,
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget where it was like one day I was just talking to, you guys know him, anime expert Cedric, and he's just like, hey, I think you would like this show called My Hero, because superheroes and all that stuff, and then watching that. And then it's not even hyperbole. If I don't watch My Hero, I probably don't really get into this generation's like start looking for like the stuff. My Hero was the
Sure.
My Hero was the door, the gateway.
Mm-hmm.
For me, a lot of people my age and older to get into that stuff because again, when Naruto ended, there was a huge gap. Like there's just
Yeah.
a huge gap for a lot of anime fans, and they're just like everything else is gone. Naruto is like that last thing we followed this boys from 12 to Hokage. Finally, like what do we watch? So then My Hero takes that spot in 2016, April 3rd.
Yep.
So then obviously that opens up, and then since then, the new generation of stuff. Obviously, we talked about this one: Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Black Clover, like all of these different, and many more. But those are like some of the bigger ones. But these ones open up, and the fact that this one's anime run has ended is it, and it's really this rarely ever happens. The fact the anime and the manga end a year within each other,
Right.
that
Right.
never happens.
We're in the new age of, there's not much for fluff content. Like that's part of the reason Naruto had that delay between
Mm-hmm.
the end of the manga to the end of the actual anime. And I mean, it seems like it's a trend that's going to continue. Again, with Demon Slayer,
The
part of the
English
only
dub is
reason
the English
it's
dub's almost over too. They just had Bakugo finding out Midoriya is about to be quirkless in the hospital. They
right.
just had that episode.
They're only two episodes
Mm-hmm.
behind. Yeah. So I can't wait for my dad to go through the end of this so we can start talking about it because he waits for all the English only,
English, yeah, I get
the
it.
English dubs to like watch it. Um, but yeah, Demon Slayer, another new age anime that's already finished the manga. The main reason that it's not, done in the anime within a couple years is because they decided to do a three-part movie
Oh
for the
yeah,
final arcs.
but a lot of
So
these animes or mangas, they've been JJK's been done. All of these ones have like five,
sure.
all of them. They're all been done. Like everything's done. Like if you want to count like Boruto, I saw the percentage like Boruto's like 50% done apparently. But it's the fact that like all these mangas are all done, and now
Mm-hmm.
these animes are being done so great. Um, it's like we've said it a lot. Who's gonna step in those spots
Right.
before like the remakes or sequels? But
Right.
it's yeah, that's
And it'll be interesting to see because, like, who is it going to be? Is it going to be a completely different type of story? Probably not because it'd still be a shonen. But, like, are we going to go a totally different route? How many years is it going to take? I think part of the difference for me with having, I feel like there was such a gap, like you said, left between the big three. Although,
hmm
again, we knew Bleach wasn't like, they weren't making any more anime, but we knew the story wasn't over
yeah.
in the
But now
anime.
and
One
now
Piece is
they're
still
back
going.
now they're back
Right.
finishing their anime. And
One Piece still isn't done. So like unless you were watching One Piece, I don't know what other like anime you were hopping onto. But now I feel like again with the popularization of anime becoming mainstream
hmm
in the United States, I mean, how many different new anime have I watched? That was not common for me.
yeah,
Like it wasn't until My Hero, and then after My Hero, what was the next one I watched? Demon Slayer on recommendation, Attack on Titan. Um, oh my gosh, so many. Kaiju number 8, JJK, Tokyo
yep.
Revengers, and
And
again, Haikyuu is
they're all
older.
yeah they're all ending
They are,
or ending
and
or have
so,
ended.
but then we also have other series that have just started that we know we're going to get more of. Solo Leveling, Frieren, Apothecary Diaries, like Spy Family. So like it seems like My Dress Up Darling, like they're continuing to just put Dawn to Dawn. I haven't watched it yet, but Dawn to Dawn, like it just keeps continuing to like throw more at us to potentially pick up. Blah. Um, However, which of the next ones is going to be the next My Hero? Which one's going to be the next quote unquote Naruto? Like what's it going to be? I feel like we're going to have a lot of anime to pick from, but what's the next one that's going to impact us
Yeah,
like
so
this?
I would say also too with like that, just so for a sports analogy stuff like this, because
Mm-hmm.
this happened in 2016, and rest in peace when Kobe Bryant retired. Like a lot of the current players said, like he was their Michael Jordan.
Right.
So then, like for us, like Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Rurouni Kenshin, Yu-Gi-Oh, all that stuff. People younger than us, this was their first anime that got them into the sphere. Like, did I know? Like seeing the tweets and people getting emotional and all that stuff, and it's like 8 years is a long time. Like, there's a lot of people who obviously they've had marriages, divorces, emergent, like everything in the sun that life throws at you in those 8 years that has happened, and a lot of people said My Hero's got them through that.
Right.
And now that it's over, it's like, where's your comfort stuff? Because that, I mean, without My Hero, there's a younger group of people, a lot younger than us, who never watch anime.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I agree. And again, not to sound super doom and gloom, I don't know how I would have found myself back into newer anime without My Hero.
Oh yeah,
again, basically like you mentioned, I wasn't watching continuations of Dragon Ball Z, even though I watched it as a kid, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I was rewatching Sailor Moon. I was, I finished Naruto, but I was also rewatching Naruto.
Yep.
And rewatching or trying to rewatch like some of the shows I had already seen.
Yep.
But I wasn't necessarily looking to pick anything new up. So without, someone else being suggested to give My Hero a try, and I was with that person and I got hooked on it, I don't know how I would have gotten into any of the new age anime. And it's wild because of how much it has shaped my I don't want to say identity, but like
it's
so
a huge
integrated
part.
into so much of what I do, into so many of my friendships, into like how I like to enjoy my time, the trinkets that I like to buy. Again, I've mentioned this numerous times across many of these podcasts. I connect with my dad watching a lot of these now because he did watch some with us when we were little. When I stayed with him, got him into My Hero, got him into Demon Slayer. He picked up an anime on his own that I don't even watch, Rise of Shield Hero. So like it's just so ingrained. That's what I was looking for. It's so ingrained in my life now. I don't know that alternate universe where I never pick up anime again, never go to a convention. I don't know.
You keep rewatching, like people rewatch shows and stuff because there hasn't been anything to get them grabbed.
To grab them.
So, I agree. Quick thing before we keep going. Deku is goated. It's cool seeing that line, but I mean, I do remember. I don't want to even say dark days because we talked about it and stuff. We were fine with it. Those days where a lot of people were turning on My Hero during season 5.
Yeah.
During Class 1A, Class 1B, because it was a slower thing because we just came off of the overhaul stuff and they didn't want to be patient and wait for the war. And then obviously season 6 got nominated for a whole bunch of real life awards, and season 7 they've been on a heater since season 6, 7, 8 all have been great. Obviously just saw this last season all 9s on IMDb, but seeing Deku go again, there were people, I don't want my main MC to be a crybaby. Oh, this and that. So seeing that is really cool. And then the other question, what is the name of the new Bakugo? He was the kid who was talking to Dai in the classroom.
I don't know his name, but that was something I picked up on as well, that parallel of like, you're still going to have kids that are going to think like, oh, if you don't have an obviously strong quirk, like you're not going to be a hero. Just like, we don't know that necessarily he's quote unquote like bullying Dai all the time, like Bakugo was to Midoriya at that age. But, and I also think, if I recall, I think they're wearing the same school uniform. Am I wrong? I don't know. It seemed like maybe they were from the same middle school, but anyway, I don't know that kid's name. And I am actually curious also what his quirk is that he thinks he's gonna...
I don't even know if he has a name, because on like the wiki, it's not even giving that kid a name. He's like, one of the students looks at Dai, who wants to go to the hero course, telling him it's tough with his quirk. Especially since the villain emergence rate has gone down, meaning the number of pro heroes has decreased as well, and only the most powerful can be heroes. And then he talks about, see, that could be a prime example, because he's talking about how people like, obviously, All Might, Endeavor, Best Genius, but then he's talking about like also how Midoriya, Shoto, and Bakugo, they wanted to be like them. I was like, brother, they're our age, so you want to be like this. And it's just like, to them, it's been so many years since they saw them fight at the end. So
again, it's been 8 years. A lot happens in 8 years. People
Mm-hmm.
go from, you know, 10 years old, you're in the fourth grade. 10 years later, you're a legal adult in the United States, in the United States at 18. So like a lot happens. And it's, yeah, I did find it, because if they're in middle school, I don't remember, because the Japanese school system is slightly different. So middle school ages can be a little bit different. But if we go by the United States, like the oldest you can be in middle school is 14. 8 years before that, they would have been 6 years old. They would have been 6 years old when all this fighting was happening.
Right.
I was 5, 6 years old when 9/11 happened.
Right.
So like it's like that type of significant event. And
Right.
so yeah, maybe they do remember watching all those fights. They because they could have been old enough. Also, who knows? Maybe like in the United States, 9/11, it's the day becomes a national holiday. There's always, a documentary about what happens coming out every year. Like,
Yep.
who knows how they might have immortalized it? Because again, Midoriya did tell Spinner they're never going to forget.
Nope. Can't. Can't. All right. And also, yeah, because I mean, there are those little classes, like you said, like 9/11. They're probably like, hey, remember this at this time was the final battle between Midoriya and Shigaraki and All Might in his last fight and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. So I agree. Like, it's kind of crazy in that sense. And also with the Deku thing, too, I remember, this was just me personally, I
Mm-hmm.
remember when season 4 happened and they had Might Yu playing for the first time, and we saw
Mm-hmm.
One for All 100%, and he beat
Yeah.
Overhaul. I remember
Yes.
sending out a tweet saying, like, people who were crying, whatever, I was like, this is officially, like, Deku's era now. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the face of anime for this generation.
Yes.
Obviously, I mean, since that moment, a lot of things have obviously changed. Obviously, we've had some Hinokami Kaguya's and
Kaguras.
things of that nature, and some destructive fits, all that jazz. But I mean, you just have to be objective. That like, if you're doing the Mount Rushmore of this like new generation and stuff, he's on the Mount Rushmore.
He is.
If you're just
Absolutely.
being if you're not being a hater and all
Uh-huh.
of that, and you're being objective, and My Hero went 8 seasons of TV. Like that's a lot. That's
It
107.
is.
They did 170
There's 70
episodes.
episodes.
Like they did all that. They have 4 movies. They're more than likely going to get one if
I
all
hope
the act.
so.
But then I don't know because I was sending you all that stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've
Everybody
never
sent me
seen.
goodbye
I've
messages. Oh my god!
yeah. I've
And I
never
was
seen a
wondering when you were
cast
gonna
do
bring that
that.
up.
I've never seen a cast do that. Like they're acting like this is it. Like they're not voicing them ever again. Besides like maybe like future video games. But
Right. And so I don't know, because I know I've experienced it before in that I've seen statements put out by like Aaron Yeager,
hmm
Mikasa, Armin Arlet from Attack on Titans. They're voice actors. I'm
hmm
pretty sure made statements that were out on X or whatever social media platform. But and again, even they got an additional movie where it's kind of set up to be like, or was it an OVA? I don't remember the technical terms, and I actually haven't even seen it. Where basically at the end, the three main characters come out of the movie as like they watched Attack on Titan as a movie,
hmm
and they go back to their everyday lives, and Levi's in the background, like working somewhere, cleaning stuff up, and kind of, I think Historia and what's her face, Ymir are also in the audience, like different type of stuff like that, where it's like putting it within the context of like the show was the show, but the actual characters or the actors or maybe the reincarnation, I don't know what it's supposed to be, because again, I haven't actually watched it. As they go back to their everyday lives. So I think the sentiment, especially to not give away the surprise that, there's going to be more, I don't think it's uncommon for them to go ahead and put out statements. And it could be, there is going to be more OVAs, or there is going to be a fifth movie. And maybe it won't have the main characters at all. Maybe it'll be something setting up for a totally different spin-off series.
yeah,
Who knows?
we'll see. I mean, it's just the way they were all the way reading them all. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like yeah, this is it. They're not. This is they're no. They're over. I mean, even also too like bringing up that, and we talked about that. obviously, I mean, My Hero is a big portion of the overall, I mean, arching of the podcast, like this whole
Right.
podcast network in general. So it's like, was doing a live one, first My Hero live one's kind of poetic because,
Hmm.
I mean, this is the last podcast we're talking the My Hero, like, series finale. Like, this is it.
Yeah,
Like, putting
it
it in
is.
that perspective, like, this is the last one ever. I mean, obviously, we'll have, like, stuff down the road whenever you want to like talk about a specific My Hero topic, but in terms of episode review, and obviously, I mean, we have Vigilantes, but that's a prequel, and
Right.
we'll talk about that. We'll get back in the saddle for that, but we already know how the overarching story ends. But like,
And
and that's Vigilante, so that's prequel. In terms of My Hero Academia and
Deku's story.
episodes, Deku story, this is our last episode ever.
Yeah, it
So
is.
that is crazy in a sense until Midoriya comes back in an OVA and we review that, or they do a movie and we talk about that. But this
Who
is, yeah,
knows?
who
Yeah,
knows? But if
technically we don't.
we don't know any of that stuff. I mean, the only thing I know about My Hero that they got coming out in 2026, they got Vigilantes,
Atlantes.
and then they got a video game. So, but in terms of yeah, which is we're talking about ending like this is a we did episode reviews from like basically season five
Five on.
five onward, so that's 3 years of reviews every 4 episodes in a thing. We did movie reviews. We got to review 2 movies, like
Hmm.
all of that. We got to do other projects with My Hero and
When they were on break,
when they
yeah.
were on break, and now this is the ultimate break because it's over. So, thoughts on now, like putting in perspective that this is the final episode review pod of My Hero Academia.
I feel like I'm just without words because like coming into this episode, obviously this live podcast, I knew that,
Hmm.
and that's part of like me being so emotional watching the final episodes, the final 2 episodes, thinking about it. This is it. This is final. And then like when we on the podcast, I'm like just in the flow of it. It just we've been doing it for so long.
Hmm.
It's hard. It's still really hard for me to imagine that this it's I can't imagine it. It is. This is the last one. Um it's hard for me to picture what happens next. Of course, we will do any case studies either of us can be creative and think of doing. Although I will say that's one downside to them ending with a the anime only information about like what everyone's doing,
Hmm.
because that could have been a cool case study where we kind of try to guess like
Uh,
how everybody's like doing, what their career paths were, who
it
teams up, and
it could have
whatever.
been, but we kind of did. This is going in the bag. We kind of did
Yeah,
one a long time ago. Like if we could give them other
everybody like,
jobs. Now,
mm-hmm.
I think a cool thing. I mean, I think we did that. The very first thing that we did of this ever was for the 5 year anniversary, where me and Mitch listened to the very first podcast ever, and we're pausing and starting and stuff like that. I mean, that could be something down the road where we one trying to finding that episode, and it's like how close we were to that person's job.
Right, right. Oh, I
So
wonder if I still have those notes. I probably still have them somewhere.
yeah, so that could be
Um,
something.
yeah, but again, back to the original point of my chest feels a little heavy knowing that when we end this podcast, this is like you said, and like it is, this is the last like true main story My Hero podcast that any of us are aware of. Like we could something come down the pipe? Absolutely. Am I hoping for that? Most definitely. But it's weird because even if we get that one next thing, once that's done, we're right back at the whole. It's still done.
Yep.
Um, so this podcast, doing these reviews with you, Martin, and I'll say with y'all who are listening in currently, might listen to this later on.
Well, I would also say that for people who are listening now, there was a when this all started, there was a time where Andrew thought no one would actually listen to her. Obviously, she was blatantly wrong in those many many years ago.
Yeah. So thank you guys for proving me wrong. Um, I appreciate y'all coming along this journey with us to hear our thoughts and our feelings on the content that we've all been able to enjoy the last 8 years. It's sad that this is coming to an end. I am I am sad, just point blank period, but I'm also a little bit hopeful that we'll find something else to connect with and on in a meaningful way, and maybe not the exact same way, but to be able to, I guess, kind of replicate the magic that has come on this podcast from reviewing My Hero. Of course, I'm still going to be around doing any of the anime leagues that
Yeah, you got two
Martin and
pods
the
and
gang
you got two live. You're in two live pods in the next like 3 weeks.
wants want me to be a part of. Any team ups. I know um, I let down one of my other female podcasters in the fact that I haven't watched Yuri on Ice yet for us to talk about that anime. So that's the only one she's ever watched, and she's big into, you know, ice skating, and actually so am I. But so I will definitely be around. This is not the last you've heard of me, but this is definitely the last. These are the last thoughts that I have on the main My Hero Academia story.
Yeah, because I mean, we talked about 8 years ago where everyone was at in life. You can just think to like us where, um, where where you were at in life when I was like, hey, we should start this. Where I was at in life, where the podcast was like it did some
It was
life
in
at
its
that point.
infancy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. I mean, at that point in time, when My Hero, like when your first Girls Like Anime too, like My Hero, we only had like we had Dragon Ball, we had wrestling. It was even before really like we started hitting like in NBA. We had that because it was during the COVID year, so it was
Yeah.
really before like we started having like NFL, college football, and then all the other stuff starts trickling down. So it's crazy how all that is change. And then, before I keep going, I still think Mineta should have grown a few inches at least. I mean, if they do an OVA, he might. But and then Dobby
Maybe
did.
he's just gonna put balls on the bottom of his feet, just like he did at
That was
graduation.
funny. And then Dobby
That
got one of
was
the
funny.
worst endings in terms of pain and stuff. Yeah, he
That's
had to
true.
suffer. He
He did.
suffered like a painful death. But no, just thinking like if you just take your December 14th, 2025, Andrea, take her back to whatever date in 2021, and you could tell her, like, hey, when you start this My Hero portion of the pod, it's going to be one of your favorite things that you do, like, throughout the thing. So, I know you, obviously, because I am you in the future. Don't be nervous. Like, once you start, you're going to see how much you really love talking My Hero, and then you're going to be shocked when you're seeing numbers from time to time where hundreds upon hundreds of people are liking, watching your stuff, and from YouTube shorts to listening to the full videos and all that. And you're just, if you could tell yourself that, I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't have believed, even myself. That's definitely true. Um, but it would have still played out exactly the same. I still would have become more comfortable over time. It 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 happened exactly the way that it should have, and I think that's also a great way to sum up how the anime ended. Is it? I think it ended exactly the way that it should have.
Yeah. Andrew, any other words before we sign off here? The
Um,
beauty of doing it live, and not shout out to Brian for editing that last one, it was very long, but the
yeah,
beauty of doing
sorry.
it live and all that stuff, you don't have to worry about the edits and stuff because we are 2 hours in.
I was gonna say I feel like that'd be a little more pressure when it comes to making sure I get things right. But on that note, while I was saying that, I remembered that I actually took a screenshot of
Yeah.
um, one of the lines from the last episode, and I just in our last podcast, I was really harping on all the different like quotables, but I think this one's gonna stay with me for a long time. And it was when Midoriya said, "Once a dream comes true, it's time to offer dreams to others."
Mm-hmm.
Um, I and he said that especially knowing at that time that he potentially would never be a pro hero again or do the hero work that he missed and loved and that he was so good at.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of who he is as a person. But to look towards the fact, on the bright side of, he had that dream, the dream became possible even when he had believed it to be impossible. And technically, All Might first told him that it was impossible. He didn't tell him he could be a hero at their first encounter. Um, but that he finds it to be the most important thing to then offer that dream to those who come after you. And I mean, on a much smaller scale, of course. I won't say it was a dream for me to do a podcast, especially with how reluctant I was to do one. But if anybody's hesitant or questioning or feeling like it's not for them, maybe it's a small dream or a small goal you should try and see where it takes you, because I definitely would not have pictured it taking me here.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to end it again. I mean, this series does a lot for a lot of different people. Like, I've been obviously strangers who I've never met been liking like their tweets and stuff, like talking about what My Hero's meant to them and all the things. Like, I was just at a convention where All Might was at, Christopher Sabbath, and he was talking about how he and people asking the questions like he doesn't want it to end, like the people don't want it to end, but obviously every journey has an end, and this is just where it ends. Like, he's even talked about like voice acting and all the stuff for All Might. He's like, he's, even though he knows what happened, he's cried every episode. Like, so it's just how emotional this stuff has been, and I appreciate all the love that My Hero's gotten, because again, I do remember that season 5 where everyone was off of
Yep.
it. It's trash. This, and that. And then 6 happens. People are like, oh my gosh. And then season's like, oh, this is going kind of crazy. Then Dobby's dance happens, and everyone's like,
Yep.
holy shit, what has
Everybody's
been
back
going?
locked
Yeah.
in. Yep.
And then 6 happens, and then people are like, oh, I can't. When did My Hero get so good again? And like, it's falling off. I was like, I know it's a society thing, but you just gotta watch. Just watch till
Yep.
every series has its ups and downs, but like
Downs.
you gotta
Yep.
make it through, and then don't miss stuff. But I appreciate it's ever done for that. It's like obviously a big part of our friendship. And again, I already said it. Like, without My Hero, I don't get into any of the current stuff, because I was one of those older anime fan people who after Naruto was like, what's really out
That's
there?
it.
Because Toonami was gone.
It
Toonami
was
Toonami was
discontinued. Yeah.
yeah, it was discontinued. Without Toonami, for like our generations, like, where do we find anime at? Obviously, internet became a thing now, but it's like,
Yeah.
where do you?
But it was such a hunt. So like we
Yeah,
knew
you have to hunt.
what to look for from Toonami. So
Mhm.
then when we needed to find the episodes, in 6 different parts in grainy resolution on YouTube, at least we knew the show we were looking for.
Yep.
But without that introduction, I mean, I don't know about you, but my YouTube feed wouldn't have just stumbled across like Inuyasha
No,
or
no, none of that. No.
Rory Kenshin. Like it had to come from somewhere, and for us, that somewhere started with Toonami or the CW, which is partially, I believe, where I watched Sailor Moon. But again, after that waned, where was it going to come from? Unless you were actively, exploring manga, which is something I definitely wasn't doing. And again, that's not a knock. It's just for what I was doing, I wouldn't have been introduced, and I wasn't.
Yeah, agreed. It was a lot different than it is now, or Crunchyroll and all that stuff. I was watching Naruto on Tailed Fox. Like, I don't even know if that site exists anymore because of
I'm trying to
Crunchyroll.
remember the anime site that I used. Was it Kiss? Was Kiss Anime one of them?
Probably, yeah.
Kiss
So,
Anime. Was it freeanime.com? Like
hmm
there were so many
you had to go to you had to go to
pirated. Yes.
yeah, you had to go to different sites to, when the episode came out in Japan, they would have it. Like, now obviously Crunchyroll and all the stuff, that there's so much stuff in simul dubbing and all of that. It was different because like
It was.
you watch that, and then on Toonami, all that stuff, but then internet, like back then without Toonami, you just don't type in. No one was typing in new anime or anime like so and so. It was just It was word of mouth, and then obviously the boom has happened, and you see what all the anime is. Yeah, I do. I'll actually copy this one, see if Andrew has watched this one. Because I think. Sorry, I think Cedric and Nikki have watched this one. I don't know if you've seen that one, though.
No, I see it pop up. It's like on the main banner of my Crunchyroll account currently,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been seeing different content about it. Thank you again to the For You algorithm, because that's also at this point my new entry into different anime is people reacting or people making content or just shorts, because that's also how I knew about Demon Slayer before it was recommended to me, is during COVID, during lockdown, like a lot of people were posting Demon Slayer content, and since I'm in the anime like community through my hero, it's similar enough that boom, here's Demon Slayer, even though you don't know what it is. And it's the same way for
Do you
the
feel weird now that you're a part of that now? That someone could tumble into one of your shorts and they're like, oh, I should go watch that episode.
I so maybe this is like the disassociation is the wrong word, but maybe it's just like kind of it goes back to the whole idea, Martin, I've told you that like when people ask me what I do, it hits me later on that I was like, oh yeah, technically I could say I podcast or I'm a podcaster, but I don't actively think of myself in that role. So
Mm-hmm.
like it's I find that it's awesome, it's humbling, and also just like I don't know, because like I now am like an avid follower of a couple different anime or just like I don't want to say popular culture, but kind of like influencers. Is his name Nick Hammer? He's one
Mm-hmm.
of them. And like it's weird for me to think like, oh, I stumbled across his stuff like here and there on Instagram and now like I follow him. And so I don't feel like because we don't necessarily post on Instagram like our whole things and do edits and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I think that's part of why my brain kind of separates the two. But you're right. I mean, technically, that somebody could do the same,
Stumble
for
on
me, and it's
stumbles
still
on YouTube and they're just like, oh, I should watch that episode. Or like when we did the season 8 thing where that person was like, I'm gonna be crying too during season 8. Like, hey, it's just a roundabout way. You're doing it on your own thing too. But I would also say with me watching new anime, like now I'll watch the stuff, but it's like the stuff that I know I'm gonna have to talk about, like podcast related and stuff.
mm-hmm,
That takes like my priority attention. Like My Hero
that's fair.
stuff, like My Hero, got to watch every episode of the got to keep up with all the news. Like that has to be
Yep,
up top. Like Dragon Ball, even though they haven't anything because it's a primary thing on the podcast. Keep up with every news station, like all that stuff. Then it's like, all right, I could watch. And obviously now too,
something
because we
new.
talk about it
Mm-hmm.
for a lip, because now they're gonna have episodes and stuff. Demon Slayer, got to be up in the news. Got to know when the trailer comes out. So it's like, oh, the trailer's
Yep,
out. Do we do a pod or the release date of the movie? What are we expecting? Like stuff like that. So it's the anime that we talk on the podcast that I take precedent over, and then I'll like watch the other stuff. But if you're not something that we have to talk about here, it gets like pushed to the back burner.
yeah.
So
Um, I've well, I've been debating on what my next like anime I'm going to dedicate my attention to watching because I've seen and heard good things about this one. I'm going to butcher the name. I'm so sorry. Once I hear it in the show, I'll probably get it right. But I think it's like Gachia Kuta.
mm-hmm.
Um, I want to watch that. I definitely do. But and I'm blanking on the name of the other one that I've been. Oh, one of my coworkers has been talking to me about Dory Doro. Um, and there's a lot of other Gurren Lagann. I've actually
Mm-hmm.
never seen that one. I actually also want to go all the way back to Neon Genesis Evangelion because I feel like I watched it when I was little, but I watched maybe like the final episode and had no understanding of what was going on. So I also feel like I'm going to make a shift going back towards rewatching or finishing some of the stuff I picked up and put down. Like I've never finished Code Geass. That was one I picked up in 2022, I think 2021, 22. And a couple seasons in, and then I just dropped it. So we'll kind of see what I get into next, but that's really going to grab me like My Hero. That's going to remain to be seen.
Bad thing is, 2026 had to relock back in for Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yep.
I mean,
Jujutsu Kaisen. What else is coming
there's a
out?
whole bunch of other
2026?
stuff, but that's the first one
Isn't
that came.
Chainsaw Man getting another one?
Yeah, like
Season
they're gonna be.
Yep.
There's other shit. I'm just know that's like that's gonna be back, and obviously that was one we've bonded over. So it's like and that. But again, thank you everyone for the first live MHA pod. Make sure you listen to if you listen to this, hopefully you listen to the previous pods so that you know how this all led up to be. Again, we just appreciate Andrea doing the My Hero Academia pods throughout the years and covering 4 episodes in one single episode every time could be a lot, especially for those bigger seasons. So we appreciate her doing that. And again, man, I've watched probably the ending, like the final 5 minutes, like multiple times. Probably going to watch it multiple times before going to sleep and waking up. But we appreciate everything My Hero Academia has not just done for the anime world, but for the world in general and people like that. And love the ending. Don't know why people hated it. With that being said, Andrew will be back literally in next week, because now it's Sunday. So on for the Anime League finale, and then for the end of year finale. Who knows? Maybe again, Andrea. We talked about people listening and all that stuff. I think it fully dawned on her. I think not last year, but I think a couple years ago when she finally saw it, when she was seeing her name in the top episodes, and then claiming one of them. I forget which year it was, but that's when it dawned on her, like, oh, people actually listen.
Yep.
So, with that being said, thank you everyone for watching the L7